The situation of human rights in Honduras is of great concern for the EU and for the international community. Specifically, the situation of human rights defenders and environmental defenders are a concern of all of us, and there is not only one reason for these figures of killings of human rights defenders in the country. In fact, it is a combination of several factors. Poverty, or extreme poverty, being Honduras one of the poorest countries in the region. Violence, related also to migration, to corruption, to impunity, to the functioning of the rule of law and the state. Also, very important is the factor of drug trafficking and migration. All these factors combined, all this mixture, make Honduras one of the most violent countries in the world, and these, of course, affect directly the human rights defender, and sometimes, regrettably, they pay with their lives. Climate change has become the main challenge for Honduras. Honduras ranks among the 3 or 4 countries in the world most affected by climate change. We had an example only a few months ago in November when Honduras was hit by 2 hurricanes in just 1 week, with devastating effects. Therefore, climate change has also become on the top of the agenda of the EU cooperation and action in the country. We share a common goal. We want to reach a neutral economy, a decarbonized economy in 2050. We share the Green Deal objectives, both in Europe and in Honduras and the region of Central America. Since 2007, we have invested more than 200 million in strengthening the governance in forest and agriculture sectors. Another good example is the signature by Honduras of the so-called VPA-flagged agreement, which is an agreement aiming and strengthening the governance of the legal timber to make sure that any timber exported to the European Union is tracked and comes from a legal origin. In the negotiation of this agreement, the human rights defenders and the indigenous community were consulted, as well as the private sector and other civil society organizations. Therefore, we want to become the main partner of Honduras in his efforts to fight the effects of climate change. As for the political tools we are using in terms of defending and promoting human rights in Honduras, first of all, we have to remind that any action of the European Union in the country is informed by the defense of human rights and its promotion. Specifically, in Honduras, we have invested more than 25 million euros in creating a national system of human rights. We have done so speaking with the institutions, with the government, but also and especially with civil society and human rights defenders, but as well with the private sector. With all of them, we have created this system of human rights that is a milestone in the country. Moreover, we have a constant political dialogue with civil society and with human rights defenders through the so-called Grupo de Enlace, created and led by the European Union, but also participated by the member states in the country and the UN system. We also observe very closely the human rights defenders' cases. Some of them are very known in Europe, such as the murder of Berta Cáceres or the Guapinol defenders, in order to guarantee that the rule of law is respected, that the human rights defenders are also respected and defended, and that the law is applied. Despite this very complex environment, we have to acknowledge that Honduras has made significant progresses in the protection of human rights defenders, and especially with the support of the European Union, not only since the beginning of our cooperation here, but in a constant effort to foster the protection of human rights in the country. For instance, in 2013, it was created the Ministry of Human Rights. And that same year, the National Action Plan for the Protection of Human Rights was approved. Only 2 years later, in 2015, the Congress of Honduras approved the law to protect human rights defenders, journalists, and justice operators, and also created a system to follow up the recommendations made by the international and regional institutions on human rights. All this has been possible thanks to the help of the European Union, financial help, technical assistance help, for instance with the program of Pro Derechos, which counts with 8 million euros, and especially fostering the dialogue among all institutions and all actors, which is a very key issue in the country. Therefore, the European Union is working together with the institutions, the civil society, and any other actors that has something to do with human rights to guarantee the protection of human rights defenders and the institution of a system, a national system of human rights. Therefore, there are still challenges ahead, a lot of challenge, a lot to be done. But we have to acknowledge these initial steps by Honduras and counting with the support of the European Union.